What's going on, everybody? It's the Bulls Show, aka Aidan, and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be talking about whether or not the Bulls fans and of course everybody in relation to the Chicago Bulls has been overreacting over the course of the previous week for the Chicago Bulls, and mainly that last game against the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think there's a lot of ways people can interpret what overreacting really means, but I guess in terms of the short term, have we been overreacting? And of course for the long term, have we been overreacting about this loss against Cleveland? It was a bad loss. Still definitely something that, again, we have to put ourselves as a reminder of heading into future games, that there's always a performance like this coming for the Chicago Bulls where you feel like there is nothing going right, as well as you don't feel like the effort is really put in by these players to walk away with wins. Even though the talent might be there, it doesn't seem like the effort is from time to time is there for the Chicago Bulls. So we'll be talking about this game against Cleveland and of course the game against Boston as well, and be talking about the overreacting factors both for the short term and for the long term. But before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Bulls Show, turn notifications on, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls chances against the Boston Celtics, and of course if you feel like we have overreacted to the loss against Cleveland, and to be fair, the loss against the Wizards as well. Look, I'm going to try and be as unbiased as I possibly can in this situation, because you also got to think about every single Bulls fan out there that maybe don't necessarily have as much patience as I do, that do want things to change right now. And unfortunately, not everything can change straight away. But for those people that want things to change straight away, they're going to feel like they're not overreacting to the current situation. Whereas if you're looking at players or teams or people that are patient on the situation, that know it's going to take a little bit longer for this team to get to the right chemistry, to the right playing style, if they get to the right playing style, then they're going to think that everybody's overreacting. So there's two sides of people here. So I kind of want to put myself in the middle and discuss the good things about the Bulls, I guess, reacting the way that we are against Cleveland, and also Bulls fans that maybe think that we are a bit overreactionary against Cleveland. I think in terms of the overreaction part, for the short term, I don't think the fans are overreacting whatsoever. Again, you got to understand the situation the Chicago Bulls were put in. The only thing that I think many people can see as a positive from that Cleveland game and how we lost was that it was a back-to-back and the Bulls had to travel. But so early on in the season, I don't find that as a very valid excuse. And also, you have to put into consideration that this was a home opener for the Chicago Bulls. In terms of big games, this is as big as it gets for your season. You're versing the Cleveland Cavaliers, who is a good team now. No disrespect to Cleveland whatsoever. They have proven that they're a good team. They've had really good performances. And this is the home opener where the United Center is packed. The Chicago Bulls fans are coming. They're paying their money to watch your team perform. And that performance is delivered. That's not a place where Bulls fans should be overreactionary. They should react exactly how they feel, because in the situation of where it was, what the meaning behind the game was, everybody should feel angry. Anybody that paid a ticket to watch that game should feel angry. Everybody that watched that game in its entirety should feel angry, or who pay for League Pass to watch this game, or for any sort of subscription based that is priority for the Chicago Bulls, you should feel angry, because that is a performance that is not worth the money, and it's not worth the time and effort to watch the game. It's as simple as that. So no, I don't think the Bulls, in terms of the last game against Cleveland, has reacted, I guess, overreacted. But for the long term, there is elements of overreaction, because I see a lot of comments saying trade everybody. I see a lot of comments saying this team is not going to go anywhere. I see a lot of comments saying that this team is already done after 3 games in the season. Those comments are looking at the long term. And in the long term, I think it's way too soon to be saying that this team is done, or that the team should trade every single person possible, or that this team should tank. It's going to be very hard for the Bulls to tank this year. Put it this way, we don't have our own draft pick. It's going to take a long time. We're going to have to trade again. We're going to have to trade everybody just to get appropriate draft picks. And even then, we're not going to get the #1 pick next year. So let's just give that up straight away. We're not going to be tanking for Wanyama, who is going to be playing in the NBA next year. We're not going to be tanking for him. We're not getting that #1 pick. I know many people think that we will. We're not. We're not even going to be close, in my opinion. So even if we tank, that's not going to be an option. But also, at the end of the day, it's one of those things where by the time the Bulls make that decision to tank, it's going to be way too long. So long term, this team still has a long way to go. You obviously need to see how this Bulls team plays when Lonzo Ball returns, how much of an impact he can make, and whether or not we are truly relying on one guy to save this season. But also, even without Lonzo Ball, this team needs an opportunity to redeem itself from this last game against Cleveland. We need reaction against Boston. We need to have, I guess, an indication of where this team is going to be at on a consistency basis. So long term, in terms of trading everybody, I think there are elements of overreaction. But if you're looking at this game against Cleveland and you're talking about how disgusting the performance was, how embarrassing the Bulls played, no lack of effort, no real will to or desire to win, and all these things, and very bad performances, and how you should be calling out plays for these performances, there's no overreaction whatsoever. There just isn't, because at the end of the day, that performance was embarrassing, and the Bulls players should know that that performance was embarrassing. But if you're looking at the long term, yes, if you're saying trade everybody, I do think that's an overreaction. I think we have to wait and see how this team can go on a more consistent basis. Give this team at least 20 games to see where they're going to be, and then make the decision to trade everybody. And then obviously the coaching staff are going to have to make big decisions as well, because if we are really, really bad towards 20 games, either you change something to make us win, or we just, again, maybe we do go for a tank, but I don't know. But at the end of the day, I don't think that decision is going to be made right now as we speak. So yes, a little bit of elements of overreactionary there. And also, comparing to how other teams have done very similar things, have had very sucky starts to the year, but managed to pick things up by the All-Star break, managed to pick things up by 30, 40 games into the season. Our opponents in the next game, the Boston Celtics, did exactly that. Boston were a team that absolutely sucked last year at the beginning of the year. A lot of people who thought they weren't even going to make the playoffs by how badly they actually played last year at the beginning of the year. And we even had our biggest comeback of the season last year against the Boston Celtics. We have to use them as an example here. Maybe it's not going to happen that way. It doesn't happen that way for every team. But after their loss against the Chicago Bulls, something clicked. They made more commitment on the defensive end. They made a promise to each other that they would be a lot better on that end. And all of a sudden, they became the best defensive team in the NBA. Even though they may not have all the best quality defenders, they still managed to have a good system in place where they became the #1 defense in the NBA, and they made it all the way to the NBA Finals. Now, I don't think that's going to happen to the Chicago Bulls like that, but embarrassing starts to the year will hopefully, I guess, provide more commitment for this team to actually play for each other, which is exactly what we need. So we'll have to wait and see whether or not the Bulls can get that type of reaction. Because again, if you're looking at the Boston Celtics, you're looking how they were last year. No one can tell me, based on last year, at the beginning of the year, that they were going to make the NBA Finals. Not one person can tell me that in their honest hearts of hearts. No one could tell me that they would become the #1 defense in the NBA by the end of the year. Not one person can tell me that, and I would never believe them if they did, based on Boston's start to the year. Of course, towards the second half of the year, we all saw what Boston did. I'm not saying that's going to happen for the Chicago Bulls, but I do think we need to give them a chance to really figure things out before we say, let's trade everybody, throw everybody into the trade pile, let's go tank for another 10 years. Because we've seen the Bulls suck at tanking as well. We may suck at being contended for championships. We've never been a good tanking team. We always trade away picks that end up working out very well for other teams. And maybe people can even provide that example with the new front office. We've always sucked with developing talent. We just have. We're not that team. We haven't been that team. So again, everybody think tanking is the answer. When was the last time the Bulls actually had a good couple of tanking that brought talent? I think Derrick Rose's team was the last time we saw it. But even after that, after the Jimmy Butler trade, it took years for us to get even to a playoff position, and many people already want us to give that up already. So no, the Bulls have not been a very good tanking team, and the Bulls have also not been a very good contending team. So right now, we have to figure out where we need to go, and we need to give this team time to I guess, figure out where our future is going to lie. And it's up to them. They're going to make the decision for the front office. The front office is not going to make the decision for them. If they're going to suck for 20, 30 games, they've made the decision already for the front office. But if they actually put in work, get big wins against good teams, and prove something to the Bulls fans as well as themselves, then at the end of the day, I guess the decision will be made by the front office, and then maybe they'll go towards trying to compete for something. We'll wait and see. But thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. Let me know in the comments below if you agree or disagree. Again, I know there are two sides of the spectrum here. I know, again, look at all the comments in my last couple of videos. All of them are talking about how disgusting the performances were for Cleveland. There's no escaping that. There's no overreaction to that whatsoever. But there are a lot of comments saying, let's trade everybody, trade individual pieces, trade the whole team, let's go get draft picks and stuff like that. After 3 games, that is something that I do see as an element of an overreaction. But it all starts now with the Boston Celtics. We got to focus on Boston. We need a reaction against Boston. And maybe we can use their situation as an example of how we can end up having a strong season by the end of it. But we'll just never know. Of course, the future is unpredictable. Maybe the Bulls just suck, and that's just how we are this season. We'll wait and see. But have a wonderful and safe day. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay tuned for more. Take care, and peace.